Hello, everyone. Welcome to TSAM Digital. My name is Anna, and today I have the pleasure of speaking with Yann Bloch. He is the head of pre-sales at NeoXam. Welcome, Yann.
Hi, Anna. Nice speaking with you today.
Thank you so much for being here, Yann. So before we kick things off, Yann, I wanted to ask you if you'd like to say a couple of words about yourself and about NeoXam.
Yeah, sure. NeoXam, we are a company dedicated to the financial services industry. We've been working with our asset manager clients for many years to provide solutions around data management, investment management, investment accounting, and reporting. We are based in Paris and have offices around the world. We're, a little more than 500 people now. Um, and I'm personally based in the US. I've been working with the company for many years, actually. My current role is in pre-sales and product management for NeoXam. And yeah, I'm happy to do this interview today.
Fantastic. Thank you so much for that intro, Yann. So to kick things off, my first question for you would be, how has NeoXam helped their US client base with data management at a high level?
So NeoXam has been helping our asset management clients in the US and elsewhere in various ways, right? So the asset management business, as you know, is a data intensive business. And what we provide is really an end-to-end EDM or enterprise data management solution to have one single point of truth for all reference and market data um, for the company, right? So, and that solution is called Data Hub, right? So, our Data Hub EDM solution has, the key advantages of coming with both predefined data models, connectors, workflows. All you can all you need is predefined in the solution, and at the same time has the ability to be completely configurable, right? So you can configure all of the workflows. You can change and adapt the data model to your own needs, right? So what that brings to our clients is the key benefits of quicker, more streamlined implementation times because you don't have to start from scratch, and also ensure that their requirements are met. Thanks to that flexibility that we have built in the solution, and that is, I think, one of the key differentiators of NeoXam on that front. Um, yeah.
Ian, this sounds really interesting. And I wanted to also ask, what are the key initiatives at NeoXam around data management?
So actually, at NeoXam, we have a lot of exciting things going on currently. One of our main projects is really a complete overhaul of the user experience with a new web-based front end, which opens a lot of possibilities to make user workflows more intuitive, more seamless, and more efficient. Right? Another key initiative that we have is to improve data access generally through an API-first approach. And that really helps our clients access and act on data using REST APIs as well as GraphQL APIs. What this brings is the ability to build the kind of modern data infrastructure that we believe the industry needs and tries to achieve, which is centered on data, centered on clients, and centered on value, right? So as opposed to sort of the old world where you had basically the data infrastructure centered around siloed systems, right? So we want to break the silos. That's sort of one of our key mantras, and that is, I think, a new next generation way to achieve it. we have also been expanding the data domains that we cover, right? And one of the key additions here is extra financial data, or more commonly known as ESG data, for environmental, social, and governance data, for which there's a lot of investor demand, and which continues to be a data domain that is underserved by the financial and technology industry. Right?
Speaking of ESG, actually, what are the major hurdles that firms are facing at this stage of the ESG era?
Yeah, that's a good question. And currently, ESG remains a data domain which is not that well understood, right? So, and if you look at the news, there's a lot of illustrations of that. All the discussions around, whether we actually should consider ESG, what ESG actually is, how relevant it is, and so on and so forth, right? So, and that just goes to say how still of a new data domain it is, and how people don't really have a grasp on what ESG actually means. And from a data perspective, financial institutions, they're faced with a vast amount of ESG data, right? So as soon as you want to integrate ESG, there's actually a lot of data to deal with. So you have several vendors in that space. All of those vendors have their own scoring mechanisms, their own ways of looking at ESG data, because it's still a very new domain, right? So you have diverging data points, you have a lot of bias as well, depending on the ESG ESG area, on the type of company, and so on. And at the same time, what you also have is um, a lot of areas where you don't have ESG data, right? So there's there are multiple segments of the market. Thinking of private equity, certain small caps, emerging markets, which have very little ESG data available, right? So you both have too much data in a sense and too little. So that makes it very difficult for asset managers to make sense of all of that, right? So what we're trying to do at our level as NeoXam is help asset managers bring those diverging data together, make sense of them by being able to compare them, right? Um, where there is disparity, kind of highlight those disparities. We have that recent anecdote of FTX in mind, right? So where FTX apparently had, one of the agencies had scored FTX very high in terms of governance, right? So, that just goes to say that you can't rely on one single score, right? You need to be able to compare those. You need to be able to understand what's underneath, right? So, which highlights also the need to have a way to catalog the data, to have a way to compare those different sources, right? And provide basically a level of certainty where we can compensate that bias and misalignment between data sources, right? So that's basically how we see our added value around ESG is to help our clients in that journey.
So, in light of all of this, how can firms better deliver and communicate their advancements in ESG to their clients?
Right, that's a good question. So we've discussed around the data aspects of ESG, right? Once you have your data right, you need to be able to communicate to the outside world, as you very well highlighted. Um, so beyond that data management aspect of ESG, so there's that need to communicate, right? So depending on the jurisdiction, there's pretty different things that you want to do. For example, if you're active in Europe, you have regulations now kicking in, such as SFDR, which impose, a certain number of things around how you communicate around ESG, and they impose um, certain types of reports that you need to produce in a certain way with certain key data points, PAIs as they're called, alignment to the EU taxonomy, and so on, right? So, but beyond that, in all jurisdiction, basically. You can look at ESG as a differentiator for asset managers, right? So something that will help basically sell more if it is well communicated, if it is well justified, and that you can show really alignment to ESG, taking into account the risks, the extra financial risks that ESG monitors, right? And for those aspects, you need to produce, reports that are uh, that show the data in a way that can easily be understood by the general public. And for that, we have our Impress reporting solution, right? Which is really closely integrated with Data Hub, with our data management solution, because before you're able, obviously, to produce a report, you need to have the data. But once you have the data, you want to format it in the best way possible for your clients and prospects to understand it, right? So, and that's where our Impress solution is able to deliver both on the regulatory side of things, right? So with the ability to produce all of the reports mandated by SFDR, and also on the marketing side of things, right? So by enhancing fact sheets, we've been producing fact sheets with our Impress solution for several years. What we've done recently is that we've added, as a standard feature of those fact sheets, also a lot of ESG data points, which help our clients communicate around that.
Yeah, this has been really fantastic hearing all these interesting insights. So thank you so much for sharing that with our community. We look forward to seeing you again soon, and thank you.
Yeah, thank you very much, Anna. Pleasure speaking with you.